since this is geared for agents, I want to do something that is totally a little different because you are such a healthy person,
Mhm.
mentally, physically, spiritually. You, through this, you keep that smile, you keep that positivity. I see you still do deals, you still work hard for your clients, your home sellers, your home buyers, but you're not going crazy out there. You're very consistent in uh
Business.
your character. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean?
And everything. Yeah, I try to be. Balance is hard, but I try to do that for sure.
Hey everybody, I'm Mel and I want to welcome you to our video interview where we gather top professional real estate agents and coaches so they can share valuable tips and strategies for agent success. Whether you're a team member, solo agent, new agent, or seasoned professional looking to take your business to the next level, we're here for you. So we hope you like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you get notified with each new video to help you close more deals, help more clients, use systems, and leverage agent talent to grow your own real estate business. We have Lolli LeClaire on is because we don't want agents to be lonely.
No,
We
just
want her
call
to
us.
just shower that positivity on us.
Yes.
And she is successful. So I know there's going to be a lot of agents that get a lot out of this because you are very successful. Well, I love the luxury niche that you have, and you help everybody, but you also help the luxury niche. And a lot of people wonder how you can get there. Well, you have to start with yourself. You have to
Yes.
start with doing the right things and sharing it and be proud and loud and proud about that. And I think that's really helped you because people are gravitate to that positivity. They just
Right.
totally
They to
gravitate.
do that for sure.
So this is what I would like to ask you. If you could give like four major tips on how agents, if they do want to stay in full time and they are using this as a full time profession and they're trying to keep positive and still network, how do you feel like that? Not that guilt. You know how when I was a young mother,
Yes.
my I always felt either guilty if I was going away for a little bit of work. I felt guilty for not being with my kids, and if I was with my kids, I felt like guilty that I wasn't working enough.
I know. I think, I mean, I started this when my children were little. And so I have adult children now. My youngest is 19. And, I included them. So I think, gosh, it was almost 14 years ago, if I'm correct on my years. I think it's almost 14 years ago. But just even studying for the test, my kids were little. I'm like, hey, I got to study for a test. I'm going to study for a test, and then they'd see me studying for a test, and then I'm off to take my test, and then they had signs for me when I came home saying, "Yay, mom! You got your license." So every step of the way, they're in part of the process with me. And then even starting off as an agent, I would bring my daughter with me. She was so little and she wanted to hold the listings. And then I'd let her open the key box and she would, to the clients that I'd shown already quite a few times and had a relationship with, they were okay with me, bringing my daughter along, and she would show them the house and be like, this is the fireplace. And this is, so she just was cute, but it's just part of she was a part of the process with me, as same with my boys, same with my husband. And that's a very important part of the puzzle, because we as moms, I feel, and wives, if you don't have children, it's just you have a lot to take care of besides your business. And naturally we just do that. And I think I think the biggest thing was just involving my kids, and then really trying to focus and keeping the piece of my peace, meaning like my piece of my head and my heart and my mindset, is just doing that. I had to set up little schedules for myself.
Mm.
It's hard to stick to schedules, I think, for myself anyway. I get very scattered, but the morning times for me is my quiet time, and I don't turn on my phone, don't look at the emails. I really try and read. So I mean, there's kind of, I think those are the, I don't even know how I got off on that tangent, but I think the biggest thing is including my children, and then just really try and carve out some space for myself.
Wow, that's so no, that's really that's something I wouldn't have thought of, but I did the same thing. So then you've got a cheering section. You've got
Yes.
your family's a part of everything. And what
Yep.
family doesn't want to see success in the
Uh-huh.
family?
Because they see a change. They saw a shift where I was at home. I was at home for 13 years. Previously, I was worked for a home builder. I was in the lending industry. So I took 13 years off, and they were only used to me being home, being mom. Well, I'm still their mom. I still was their mom, is their mom, and they just became part of that process. So it just became almost seamless because I included them. It wasn't so bad. I mean, there were a few times where I was very late to pick up my daughter, or there was one time I kind of stressed out and forgot my daughter at school. So there's those moments where this mom fails, where, it's going to happen. We have to give ourselves some grace. And there's a lot of tears with that because I was the mom that wanted to be there for everything. And it was difficult to balance it out. I was in a position where I had to work. So it was tough. There's times it's not all peaches and cream, but
Yeah,
it definitely,
I totally relate.
yeah.
I totally remember those days. I
I
remember.
remember
Yeah,
so clearly
I
the
will like, yeah, I'll never forget the couple times I was sweating on the freeway
wedding.
in traffic.
Uh-huh. And literally going, oh my gosh, I have to pick up my daughter after school. And it was Girl Scouts. And I just remember walking in and just crying. I'm like, I can't believe I forgot my daughter. I really didn't forget her, but I kind of did. Like
Well,
it was just I did in the moment. It was just I was scurrying all over the place with a client, and it just was
time gets away from
awful.
you.
Yes,
Time.
I could cry right now just thinking about it.
Oh, see, it'd be different if you didn't care, but you
Yeah.
cared. And your kids always knew that, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And my kids did too. My kids can remember when at certain times when I had to take them to the office as an appraiser. Very
Oh.
few times, but I had to
Mhm.
take them to the office a couple times, and they said a couple times was okay. Um, and I did, and they were sitting down with notepads, with the bank header on it. I got them a notepad and special pens from the bank, and they would just start writing like they were writing orders from somebody. And they
That's
would be
so
like on the
cute.
phone. Yeah, what can I do for you?
My daughter, she said to me, I remember, I would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she's like, I know what I don't want to be. And I said, what's that? She's like, well, I don't want to be a realtor.
Oh,
I said, why? And she goes, because you're so busy. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing. And she's like, no. She's like, I'll just be your helper. I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's fun when they do that, but it's kind of funny that she's doesn't want to be a realtor.
well,
Which
she'll
is fine.
always appreciate realtors more in her life. That's for sure.
They all do. Oh, they all hear, the whole family hears my stories of what we my journal of just events and stories that happen along the over the years. It's so it's quite interesting. And I'm a super emotional person, which is and a very passionate person as far as like taking care of my clients. I will do anything for my client, as I know you will too. And they become just a part of you, and you protect them with everything. And then it becomes so, it just, there's lots of moments as, things that can go wrong and all
That
that, but
that's
they are through it all with me. They're through it all. They're like, you okay,
yeah,
mom? I'm like, I'm fine.
that's awesome. So you've taught them through that how to
Yes.
overcome those situations.
Yep.
And so that's another thing that I think would be really helpful to, because I would love, this is one thing I didn't have to do as an appraiser.
Mhm.
Lolli, I did not have to get emotionally involved with
Oh,
personalities.
right.
I would greet people, have that face to face and pleasantry for a little bit. Then I just do my thing, take my numbers, write up the report, and just analyze the heck out of stuff. Right.
Mhm, mhm,
So I had that portion that was just at analyzing, which was really, really good for me at the time. And,
mhm.
but, the emotion part and dealing, if you are a person that's passionate or emotional or cares a lot for your clients, you
Yes.
just get hit even more if something doesn't work out the way they plan. There's so many hands involved, not just us. There's escrow, there's there's title, there's couriers, there's there's the notaries, there is
There's
the
a, yeah.
inspectors,
Mhm.
and all these different people, having the lender, the loan officer, the underwriters, all these different people have a say in how what the result is gonna be. And we're just trying to hold everything together and
Yes.
running to the end of the finish line with
Yeah.
everything. And
Yep.
that can get a little bit of a burden if people aren't prepared for that, don't you think?
Well, it can. I don't think people understand the role of a realtor. It's not just what you see on HGTV. You look at houses and how pretty and this is fun and blah blah blah. That is a very small portion of it, and it really is great. That's fun. But there's just so many moving parts, so many pieces to the puzzle of being a realtor. You are, you're a therapist, psychologist, negotiator, I mean everything in between. You have a zillion titles within your real estate realtor title. And I think sometimes there's some people over the years that said, I want to be a realtor, this is going to be so much fun. I'm like, great, let's do it together, blah blah blah. And then they just figure out they end up in their first year saying, how in the world do you do this? It is so much work and so hard. And I said, it is my passion and I love it. But I mean, some people just, it's not for everybody. And I think when you do your job correctly and can spread yourself out and understand all those different roles and be able to still focus on your main thing, which is your clients, it becomes fun. Like I don't forget about the really hard, tough times, because I think that's what helps make you grow as a realtor. Because where you learn from your mistakes, you learn from other people, what they're putting on the contracts, what they're saying to you, how their actions are, how they impact how the deal will end up turning out. You don't learn otherwise if
Right,
everything was just amazing. And so
right,
there's just so many moving parts to being a realtor. I didn't know that. I didn't
right.
at all. I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to be in real estate. It was a situation I got into real estate when the market crashed. Every realtor was getting out. People were saying, you're going to do real estate. I even had a woman tell me, a very important person in my life, and she said, why are you going to be a realtor? Because you're going to fail.
Mm,
And
wow.
I said,
Such a positive person.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I don't know. I said, I want to do it. And really, it's the only option I have right now because I'm from that field, and, I'm just going to go do it. And I will tell you, it was hard. It was hard to do that during that time. And talk about emotional, doing the short sales and foreclosures was one of the hardest things I've ever done, as far as dealing with people's emotions, knocking on people's doors and them opening them and crying because I was there to list their house and they were losing it. And it was terrible. Makes me want
Mm.
to cry too right
Hmm.
now. So but yeah, but that's what makes this job so amazing, as a realtor. You get so many different situations, and um I don't know, you just appreciate it. But you do learn every single day. And you learn from people like fellow realtors and people like you. And I don't know. It helps so much it helps so much to be in a great group of realtors,
Oh,
because then you can
yeah.
bounce
Oh my
off
gosh,
each
yeah.
other. Yeah.
I would have never imagined we could have the collaboration group and be so transparent with each other.
Yes.
It's something that is not, you don't find everywhere. And
Mm-mm.
so to be able to lean on and pick up the phone and I've picked up the phone with you before and reached out, and we've just like, I always feel like I either have extra support or can ask somebody a question, and there's going to know when you have over 100 people, over 150,
Yes.
whatever it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to know, somebody's going to know something that they can share. And you never feel alone that way,
Mhm.
especially in a market shift. And we know that over 30%, what was it, 35%? I forget now, 36%, whatever, they
I think
just left
almost
the business.
38%.
It was
Yeah.
38%, was it, or
I think so.
38% just left the business? And this happens in recessions. what kind of advice would you give agents right now, since you started during the Great Recession? What year was that you started?
So 2008,
2008.
I think so.
So right in the depths of it.
Step 7, maybe 8, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Blurry my old age.
Well, see, I can say this to you because you weren't there in like 2006, but I was telling agents in 2006, I'm not going to pay that price. There's just no way it's worth that price.
Well, it's crazy because
And in 2007, they were saying, please buy this.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
And then in 2008, you had the residual from all of that. You see that? So just as fast as it goes up, you can turn on a dime.
It does. I always kind of joke about it, but I always say, like, I can feel something that's going to be coming or happening. You can almost just see it because you're in it daily, and you can just almost sense before people even start talking about it, you're like, something's going to happen. It's either going to be this or that or whatever. And it just does, because you're in it every single day. You're in it with your buyers, you're in it with your sellers, and you can just, it's a strange shift when the market does shift. It does, but you can almost anticipate it a little bit. Not that you can anticipate it, but you can feel it a little bit, because it's like, okay, why are my offers? Why am I now, doing this why is this happening with my offers, or what's happening with my showings? Like, all right, like something's happening, things are doing this or that. So it's kind of interesting how it does. It shifts all the time, and you never can time the market. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, is this the right time to buy, or is this the right time to sell?" And my answer is always, there's no right time or right time to buy or right time to sell, because it has to be right for you. And you can give the data of what's going on in your particular area and decide, is this the right time for you? And then it will be the right time. And then if they're trying to time it, they're always behind the 8 ball. They're going to say, Susie Q over here sold it for this, or bought their house for this. Well, that was 2 months ago, and that's past. Now it's different, so it's.
But there seems to always be some kind of perfect. I mean, in appraising, I was appraising before you even had to get certified, before you even had to be licensed.
No
but
way.
The S&L crisis started that, because there was always somebody that's going to get creative, and there's always something that's going to go on to get creative, a little bit too creative. And then some people get taken advantage of. And you're just going to always have those kind of people in. And what we'll tend to do is repeat history, not the exact way, but in a cyclical way over 15 years. It just never goes straight up. Real estate just never goes straight up. It hasn't since I was a kid, and my dad sold real estate. And I never wanted to be a realtor.
Buddy. Yep. Here you are.
And here I am. So it's so interesting, but that's really a great thing that you are able to, I see you are able to comfort your home sellers and home buyers, because you don't ever feed them FOMO. You're just a very sincere person, and you look at you analyze everybody's situation and goals. And that's so important in any market.
You got to ask the questions, and what is their plan? What do they want to do? What do they expect out of this, particularly if you're listing a house? And one of the things that I get asked a lot and I'm sure you do too, not asked a lot, but when you're trying to price out a home, and your expertise is really that, because you have an appraisal background. But it is right now, it's particularly hard, I think, to comp out a home, to price it where it's going to sell. And I think there's a lot of agents that will say, I can sell it for here, and we're going to go for the gusto. And I think in any market, specifically now, I think with this, the kind of shift that we had from going from such a crazy seller's market to a little bit more stable, balanced market. And actually we shifted into a more of a seller's market again, barely tipping into the seller's market, except for a couple areas like as of last week, Queen Creek and Santan Valley are still in the buyer's market, I believe. But we'll see what happens this week.
And
But
Maricopa.
and Maricopa, yes.
And Buckeye.
And Buckeye. So that whole little area. But I've always prided myself with, being a realistic person with pricing. It's like wherever the market is, here's where I think you're going to sell. So, and lo and behold, even if we're, they want to try here and then we end up being, guess what? Like right here where I'm telling them we're going to sell their home. So it's just interesting that, price dictates everything, and you have to really pay attention to what's happening in your particular area that you're actually listing the home. And just like I said, right now it's hard to price. Sometimes, well, right now it is hard to comp out a house. You kind of have to pull from all different directions and try and just figure that out. But I think being realistic with the clients in that, and it all starts with questions. What is their main goal in doing this? And then you as an agent, I as an agent, my main goal is just to be upfront and not blow a bunch of smoke, because that's not me, because I don't portray myself. You get what you get. This is it. And then I hope that I am that person for you. And here's what I think I can sell your home for. And this is what we need to do, blah, 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 to prepare your house. Right now, I am telling my clients that are getting ready to list, they have to pay attention to their home again. They have to, let's go through your home. Let's see what rooms can we possibly paint. If you got it in the budget, let's paint. Let's take away the knickknacks. We're going back to the basics of listing a home. And it's funny, even through that great crazy boom of the high sellers market that we just came out of, I was still telling my clients to do that. I've never strayed away from the basics. And I think as an agent right now is to get back to the basics and just figure out, if you're new to the market, get with somebody who's been through it and find out how is it best to advise your people how to sell your home, because you can't take crappy pictures. How many people are you seeing with crappy pictures on the MLS right now? Because they're still lazy. And it's like, you've got to advertise and you've got to do the right things, and you have to make your home look like the buyer has to walk in and say, I love this home and I can picture myself here. So you have to let your, explain to your sellers and walk them through the process. So that's what I kind of my advice for agents right now, just kind of getting through the shift, is just get back to the basics, reach out to your circle, your sphere, and then just reach out to people in the industry to get help. Or if you don't have a good group, just kind of, reach out to us.
Call Lolli.
Call Mel.
And Lolli, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're doing very well the last year, and you have consistently a lot of luxury property listings and sales. And I admire your marketing and your video content. It's beautiful.
I'm working on it.
You do a great job, because you're so right. I've seen multi-million-dollar properties up in Oregon, and where people, friends of mine go, is this typical for a realtor? And I look up the listing, and you're right, that property, that beautiful ranch home, had cell phone pictures. Not all of them, but some of them.
I know. And, it's just a shame. It's amazing that somebody will hire a realtor and that's what they get. And it's just, it's like, I just want to say, why are you doing that?
You won't get referral business that way. And so you do have to you have to think that you're going to need to spend a little money. You're going to need to spend some money when you're a newer realtor, or, if you've been in a while and you weren't doing it, now you need to really compete. Now's the time to, go for certain things like
Yep,
that one. That's an important one.
for
Marketing is an
sure.
important one. And you can get inexpensive videographers now. There's so many of them.
I will tell you, yes. And when video, a few years ago, I would even have my son, when I couldn't, it was not kind of not the thing, but I want a little bit more than just your basic, like, drone, whatever, not
Right.
drone, but your, person walking through. But
Right.
my sons would help me.
They're
So they would
good.
help me in video, walk in the door, and then we put music to it and we try and do all that. And now I look at those, it's kind of funny because they look so, amateur. But hiring a professional is so key. And I will tell you, it is worth the money because you could use it to help with your listing presentations on your
Right.
next presentation, on your next, appointment. So it's definitely never just a one-time shot. You are using that to advertise at home like crazy. And even if the market shifts back into a huge seller's market, you still do it. Like, still do those basic things. Even if the house is going to sell in one day, who cares? Do
That's
the
right.
basics, get it done. Even if you're doing the listing after the video after it's sold or whatever you're going to do, like, just do it, because doing those things, and you're doing it for your client, really.
Right.
You're doing it for your client. Show how hard you work, and you
Right.
should want to do that. Like, you should
Right.
really want to do it for yourself and for your own business.
Yeah. I see you taking care of yourself. So you don't neglect that. No matter what the market's like, you don't neglect that. You exercise, you eat
Mhm.
right. And I see you post that. And so that
Yes.
doesn't, it's so funny to me that you're not afraid of posting those stories, and you're just so authentic. Do your clients ever like ask you like how they should be eating and stuff like that?
Yes. And
Yeah.
I love it because I'm like, that's my passion is, it all starts with that. If I don't have the energy to help my clients show houses, take care of my family and my dogs and whatever, like, it's not, no one's going to be taken care of, and it's all starts with me. But I will tell you, I learned the hard way, Mel. I
You
learned the
did?
hard way. I
Really?
actually, yes, I ran myself ragged when the kids were little, and got so, I think, just worn out. And someone told me, they said, you're really going to have to start focusing on yourself, because if you don't, you're going to run yourself into the ground and get sick, like miserable. So it's kind of when I started getting back into the gym and really, starting my running. I've always been into exercise and always been into eating great. Back in long time ago, I was still like, 35 years ago, I was doing grass shots, eating tofu, stir frying in a wok, eating protein shakes. So I was still doing that. So it's just kind of it just has carried on through life. And now that I'm in my 50s, it's even more important because, hello, it's like so difficult. So it's like, take the time. So like today, I worked out in my garage earlier today because it was the only time I could do it. And it was great. It was hard to go, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to get undressed, go to the garage, then get back dressed, and do all that stuff. But it was worth it. I just took 30 minutes and I did it.
Yeah.
But I gotta take that for my own headspace, or else it's not good for anybody around me.
Yeah, no, because your clients can feel if you're positive or if you're negative too. They
Yes.
they
And
can
I
feel
think
that.
I think sometimes I kind of scare them, and I'm like, good morning, I'm like, let's go. I'm like, are you ready to look for houses? And when we're I just had this I have a closing today, and we were just at the house in the walkthrough, and I said, let's take a picture in front of the house. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, let's do it. And then I'm like, and then can we do a jump picture? You're like, we'll jump in the air and we'll just like, whoop, do a pose. And she's like, oh, I've seen your jumping pictures and I'm not doing a jump. I'm like, come on. So it's kind of funny. So yes, I think a lot of people, they do. And no, I'm not afraid to post all that in the stories. I will be with no makeup, hair bun, sweat all over the place.
I
And
love it.
that's just how I am. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't bother me.
People appreciate that. I think people appreciate just who you are and that you're vulnerable enough and confident enough to share that. And hey, I'm doing the right thing for myself. If I do the right thing for myself and my body, I'm going to do the same kind of quality work for you. And
Yep.
I think that is important, really important. I started working out recently and I feel tons better. I go
Good.
every morning and I have an accountability partner. And
Oh, that's perfect.
that's what started it, right? Because it was like, heck yeah. She was like, you want to be an accountability partner? I'm like, heck yeah, I need one. I need one.
Especially for workouts, I think too is hard because we get so busy. We do get busy, so it's hard to do that. An accountability partner, or if you don't have an accountability partner, join something, do a little program.
Where there's a time.
There's a time, or there's a community. I think community and anything that you're doing is so important. So it's never a good idea to do things alone.
Yeah,
it's very lonely.
It's very lonely. That's right. Yeah. And this is one reason that
I do. I love that. I love that niche. I love first-time home buyers. I love everything in between. The first-time home buyers are really fun because it's like they're my little kids. I'm like, let's go. We're going to learn everything from start to finish. And, we've got to learn all the vocab and the words and what are you going to be experiencing? And then the luxury.
That's good.
So it's kind of a fun, I turn into the mom part with the first-time home buyers and, really walk them through from beginning to end. I walk people through, even through when they're in that luxury niche. I still, even if they've gone through 40 transactions or some crazy amount of, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to treat you as if you haven't, because either it may have been a few years or our contracts have changed, and I'm going to treat you as if you've never bought a house. Are you okay with that? And they're like, sure.
I love it.
So I just try and it doesn't matter what price range I'm in. Yes, I tweak things for different people or different, just like I was talking about first time home buyers versus, the luxury niche, that it's, but the basic underlying way I treat my clients is the same. I got, it's just educate everybody.
Hey, setting expectations is
expectations.
Huge.
Yes.
That's huge.
Oh, the expectations are set for sure.
I love that. I'm going to treat you like you never bought a home before. I love that. And is that okay? And then you ask them, is that okay?
Yep.
I love that. That's wonderful. That's a great bonus tip here.
Bonus tip. I know I can get a little chatty and can go off on these tangents. So hopefully there's something that there's
Hey, I've written down 4 great tips plus the bonus tip.
Good. Wow, that's winning.
That is winning. So, and I know you have to go to this closing. So why don't you give your phone number where people can contact you, and agents that maybe want to learn how to do things your way or want to partner up with you or collaborate with you, and just not be alone out there right now and they want to stay in the business. Just give your phone number and I'll write it on there.
Okay. So my phone number is 480-688-9897, and it's Lolli LeClaire. So I'm on, Facebook, on Instagram, and my name is spelled how you see it on the screen. And just feel free you can DM, call, text, however you want to do. I mean, I am here for anything. And that is the joy and the absolute reason for life, is to help others along the way. So
that's right. That's why we're here. When you give, you'll receive. Yes. So that's why we're doing this. And I love these interviews. I love sharing tips with realtors right now that want to stay in the business. So thanks everybody, and just stay tuned for more. And thank you so much, Lolli. We appreciate you.
Okay. Have a good day.
See you next time.